If you have any question, put it in the chat. If you don't have the mic, or if you have the mic, just ask me directly. So we will start first by the reading comprehension. We have the first reading comprehension that will come in the teacher. Give me a second. You can start. Okay, Ali, the session is recorded, so if you missed anything, you can see it later. So once again, we will start by the reading comprehension. The first reading comprehension that will come in the exam is follow the rapid proof fence. Do you still remember it?
Yes.
Okay, so from follow the rapid proof fence, a quick revision about the summary. It was an exhibit. We said that it means that it was taken from a book. So some chapters or some lines were taken from the book. And this excerpt from the non-fiction narrative. Non-fiction narrative. Follow the rapid proof fence. The non-fiction narrative, Follow the Rapid Proof Fence by Doris Bill Kington. Okay, these information are very important. The genre of the reading comprehension, the author of the reading comprehension. So that's very important, right? And perhaps I'll bring one of them in the exam. Follow the Rapid Proof Fence, of course, was written by Doris Bickington. Three sisters decided to run away from the settlement where they have been forced to live. They want to find their way back to the home village. The oldest of girls decided that they can follow the rapid proof fence, an obvious and large structure to get all the way home. The sisters gathered their few possessions, a little food, and get ready to run. After fleeing from the camp, they find a way to cross a dangerous river. So, of course, in this reading comprehension, we have been speaking about three young girls. They were taken from their native family in Australia, and later they were introduced to a settlement. In this settlement, they were asked to learn about the method of the white man or the white men, and how they can be like white men, introduced to schools, crafting, and everything from the white man cultures. Consequently, the girls did not like that, and they needed to go back to their own family and their reservation. And in order to do that, they decided that they will escape or flee from that settlement. And to do so, they waited in the room until all of the girls went to their class, and then they took some few decisions and started moving and fleeing. And one of the most important questions about that is the way they decided to do. Can you send all the comprehension that will come in the exam on class era? It's on class era, Ali. The exam guideline. Okay, this is the exam guideline. This whole material is already on class era. Okay, and if you don't have access to it, you can just take a screenshot. Okay, Ali, you can take a screenshot now. This is the material coming tomorrow in the exam. Done? The answer for the reading comprehension are already on class era in the photo library. Check them by the page. So once again, the background, we were speaking about the Aboriginal Australians. The Aboriginal Australians, like the native people of Australia, who lived first and inhabited Australia first before the white man started to come and live there. They are the native people of the Australian continent from 1910 to 1970. Many children of mixed Aboriginal and white descent were taken from their families by the government in an effort to train them to fit into the Australian culture and society. Follow the Rapid Proof Fence is a non-fiction narrative account of three Mardu Aboriginal girls who escaped a government settled and later in 1931 to return home. The Mardu are the indigenous or the native people of Australia who lived in the Australian desert. So once again, okay, help me with this. I have three young girls living where at the beginning of the reading comprehension? Where girls at the beginning of the comprehension?
In the white Australian culture.
Where exactly in the white Australian culture? Where were they sitting? In their home, in prison, in a settlement? Where?
They were in the Australian.
Yeah, they are in the continent of Australia. Hussein? That's Australia, okay? So here in Australia, the indigenous Aboriginal people, they lived in all of Australia until the white men started to come to Australia. They started to kidnap the girls from their families in order to put them in settlements. These settlements were meant to teach them about the white man's culture in order to fit in the Australian society. So the three girls were taken from their families in order to enter one of the settlements. Okay?
Okay.
So at the beginning of the story, where were the three young girls
At a settlement in Australia.
at a settlement in Australia? That's great. What did they decide to do?
Flee from the
Settlement. To flee from the settlement and go back to their own house.
So what did I miss?
We were speaking about follow the proof fence. So the session is recorded. You may review the first 5 minutes. We have only started 10 minutes.
So you just got over this one thing?
Can you still remember it, Muhammad?
What?
This reading comprehension, do you remember it?
Yeah, two girls in Australia going over a fence from school. Trying to escape school.
Great. Where were they at the beginning of the comprehension?
Inside school, in a fence.
Yeah, school is called here settlement. Because it was not just, okay, it was a settlement to teach them about education, manners, and everything about the white man's culture.
So school.
Yeah, some sort of school. It's not only a school, it's a whole settlement. So a school and other buildings. So number two, what did they decide to do? They decided to do what?
Getting ready for school. Escape.
Flee the settlement.
To flee from the settlement or to escape from the settlement. After that, after deciding to escape, what was their plan?
To go back to their families.
How? They don't
By
have
jumping over the fence.
To follow the rabbit-proof fence. Okay, so at the beginning of the excerpt, where were the three sisters living? They were living in a settlement. Where does Molly want to go? She wants to go home. And Jigalong, of course. How does Molly know about the rabbit-proof fence? Yeah, that's a very important question. Who told the oldest sister about the rabbit-proof fence?
Her father.
Her father, because he was an inspector and he always
Teacher, what's the other girl's name? What are the characters in the story?
Not important, actually. They are in the reading comprehension.
Okay.
So, once again, who told them about the rabbit-proof fence? Their father told them about the rabbit-proof fence, and that rabbit-proof fence it connected the south of Australia to the north of it. So it's like a gigantic fence that connected all of
like
Australia.
a line dividing the stream.
Like a lion, exactly. So if you imagine an imaginary lion, Just imagine there is an imaginary line. The girl's home was here in Jigalong, and the settlement was here. So they need to go in order to find the rapid-proof fence, and then to follow it directly to the north so that they can reach their home in Jigalong. Pretty easy plan, actually. So the plan was pretty easy one. So another question: what does Molly try to avoid when looking for a place to cross the river? Actually, it doesn't even need to read the whole comprehension, just from your mind. While trying to cross a river, what do you try to avoid?
Which river?
Alligator.
In order to yes, in order to get to the rabbit-proof fence, there was a river here. Let's make it wider. There was some sort of a river here, and in order to get to the rabbit-proof fence, they will have to go across the river. And of course, in the river, you will find some places that are very, very deep. Consequently, they cannot cross from these places because a river is a running current. Running current. Okay? Running means very fast. If they enter from a very deep point, they will be taken by the current and perhaps they will die. So they try to find a shallow place where they can pass very, very safely. So while trying to move or to cross the river, what did they try to avoid? They tried to avoid crossing where the place is very deep. Okay, and of course in the reading comprehension it gives us also a comparison between what were the girls doing while they were trying to cross the river. Yeah, so if it's deep valley, then it's fast and they will not be able to cross. And also in the reading comprehension, if you can remember, they give us like a comparison between what were the girls trying to do while trying to cross the river, and a few days later, the other girls from the settlement, what were they doing in the same place, where they were having a party and running, and the kids were swimming in the river. So, once again, this reading comprehension speaks of 3 young girls from the Aboriginal Australians. They were taken from their home in Jigalong and were set or put into a settlement in order to be taught about the white man's culture. While doing so, unfortunately, they did not like that, and all they needed to know, or all they needed to do, is to go back to Jigalong. We'll come back on tape. While trying to go back to Jigalong, they had a very simple plan, which is to follow the rabbit-proof fence. That is the rabbit-proof fence. Connects all of their continent together, and their father told them about this fence. If you ever got lost, just follow the rabbit-proof fence, and you will be home in Jigalong. So they set out the plan and took them some possessions from the settlement and started to march towards the rabbit-proof fence. In order to get to the rabbit-proof fence, they had to cross a river, and they tried and tried many times in order to avoid any place where it's very deep. Consequently, they managed to cross the river and to start marching toward their own. Yes, Ali, that's their city. It's for the Aboriginal people, and Aboriginal people did not live in cities. They lived like in a tribe. So we can say it's more like a tribe than a city. All right. So once again, they try to avoid where it's very deep so that they can enter and go where it's safe. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay. And remember that the reading comprehension was a non-fiction narrative. Uga buga. The second reading comprehension we have is the Mole, presented by Eliza Kazmi. Can you remember Eliza Kazmi?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you remember about her actually?
She stepped on and she told the people about her story.
And what was the story about?
That she loved art.
She loved art. Nice. And how did the girls in her school deal with her? How did her... It's very easier to just... Do we need to know the type of the... Yes, you need. You need to know the type of the story. Yes, you must. So, the most by Alida Kazmi. It was just like a video, and in this video we have, because it's very important to know the genre and the setting of any reading comprehension you study. And the video, the model presents by Alisa Kazmi. Alisa Kazmi tells a story about how she came to stand up for her identity. When she was only 6 years old, she had a project to draw a self-portrait in school. She describes looking forward to coloring with oil pastels and used the same peach color that her friends used. Her teacher told her that the peach was not hair color, and here we need to stop. And insisted that cadmium color had portrayed over with a brown crayon. As a result, the portrait looked worse, and Kazmi felt terrible. Years later, in sixth grade, an incident reminded her of that portrait day, and she used the memory of disappointment to inspire her to stand up for herself.
Is this story a memoir?
No, it's not a memoir, it's a video. Lisa Kazmi was standing.
What is the genre of this?
Yes, okay, B.
Yes, there's no in my book. There's no summary for it.
Teacher, what's the genre for the Moth Presents?
It's a realistic story, because she tells us about her own self. So a girl had an experience, a very bad one, and she was so devastated, very disappointed, and she lost even believing in herself. And something started to shake her identity, or to make an identity crisis, because she was like a normal girl living in the kindergarten. The teacher wanted the girls to draw themselves, and she used the same color as other girls use. It's not a big deal. They all use the peach color, and I used the same one. Once the teacher saw that drawing with that color, she told her, no, that's not your color. And here it was her first time to hear that code. What, my color? I'm just normal like any other girl. Yet the teacher told her that, no, this is not your color. And she enforced her that she must use a brown crayon, and she just started drawing on her own painting, and it was very hideous, very bad at the end. So as a young girl, 4 years old in kindergarten, she does not understand anything about that. What do you mean that my color differentiates me from any other girl here in the kindergarten? So that was like an identity crisis. And later,
Like a racism, like preparation.
yes, totally racism, especially from a teacher. Perhaps the teacher did not understand that she was making like social discrimination or something like that. Yet, very, very specific incidents and small things can affect a person's identity forever. Just imagine this situation happened to this girl. Okay, now she's 16, 17. Okay, it happened to her when she was 4 years old, and yet until this point she still remembers it. Why? Because it made a very different thing in her life, started to give her some identity crisis. What makes me different? And is this difference a good thing or bad thing? And apparently it's very bad because all the other girls are alike except for me. So that's gonna be a very bad thing for me. And it started to make her identity crisis. So as teachers, as guardians, we just need to take care of what we may say to students. Because once again, not all students are alike. Some students can accept humor. For example, if I'm making a joke with for you, for example, with you, Muhammad, I can make a joke with you and you accept it and you laugh and that's it. You know that it's a joke. Other students may not take
Probably a low
it as
percentage though.
I beg your pardon.
Like me liking the joke, it's a little percentage, you know. Just
Yeah,
like,
so you will just accept it because you know that you're just kidding. Other student, while making the same joke with him, may not
yeah,
accept it.
Hussein,
For example, okay, let's talk about Hussein, for
quote
example.
unquote, for example.
Why me?
Yeah, because if I
It's
made a joke,
racism.
you accept it. That's why I included your name in the example. Of course, not you. Both of you can accept jokes very, very much. You, Hussein, Muhammad, Ali, all of you accept it. Okay, but some specific students may not accept it. So a teacher's responsibility is to differentiate between the different identities of his students so that he can deal with each one of them separately. Okay, unfortunately, her teacher, while she was still young, did not understand that. Consequently, it gave her that identity crisis. Okay, so this identity crisis still stuck with her until she's the second grade, and yet while she's in the high school right now, she still remembers the same incident. And I believe the best thing is just to hear from her.
Hi. So I'm 6 years old and I'm in the first grade and I'm sitting at a table with my three best friends. And we're all really similar. We all wear the same clothes from the children's place that our moms buy us. And we play in the monkey bars during recess. We play house underneath the playground at St. Catherine's Park, which was behind our elementary school. And all of our names start with A. There's Anna, Amanda, Shaya, and Elisa. And we're working on self-portraits. And this is sort of an icebreaker project of the first grade. And my teacher, Miss Harrington, presented it as like a way to get to know each other's faces. These are going to be hung up on the wall. And I was really excited because we were on our third day of self-portraits and we were going to color them in finally. And I was super excited about this because my mom had bought me a coloring book over the summer and I learned how to color inside the lines. And I learned all these, yeah, I'm really excited about that. And I learned all these really cool techniques for how to draw properly. And I was basically young Picasso and I was ready to show off my skills to my friends. And I knew this was an extremely special project because Ms. Harrington had brought out oil pastels. And every table got one box. And every box had one of each color. And I love oil pastels because they're really soft. And so I used to take them and pinch them between my fingers and like feel them melt into my skin almost. And because there's one of each color in every box, you have to be patient and wait for your color to not be used. And the color I wanted was being used. I was ready to color in my face. And all of my friends had colored in their face peach. And since we were all the same girl, I figured I would use peach as well. So finally peach was available and I color in my face and I'm going slowly and I'm watching the oil pastel melt into the paper and I color inside the lines. And it's beautiful and I look down and this self-portrait, this girl I had just drawn is exactly how I see myself. It's like I'm looking into a mirror and I'm proud. And I feel Miss Harrington, my teacher, looking over my shoulder and I get really excited because Miss Harrington loved it when people drew well. And I was like, she's going to say to me that she's going to hang it above her desk so that when people came in, they knew that I drew this amazing portrait. And I was getting ready for her to compliment me. And instead she looks down and she says, Elisa, that's not your color. And I'm confused by this because I don't understand how colors can belong to people. And so I start panicking and I'm like, was I not supposed to use the oil pastels? Did I do something wrong? What did I do wrong? I couldn't figure it out. And I couldn't find a way to ask her. And she didn't explain further. She just grabbed the oil pastel box and started looking through it. Didn't find the color she was looking for. And so she went to the crayon bin. Now I'm every elementary school had this infamous crayon bin where it was like little bits and pieces of broken up crayon that were unwrapped and disgusting and like mixed together over years and years and years and never went away. And I never used crayons. I always used markers or color pencils or something. But Miss Harrington went to the crayon bin and she's rummaging through it and she pulls out this crayon and it's this nub of a brown crayon that's unwrapped and gross, and Miss Jill Harrington hands it to me and she says, "Lisa, this is your color." And I still don't understand it because how can colors belong to people? But I can't figure out a way to ask her, and so I take it and she tells me to color in my face. And so I do, but crayon and oil pastel don't mix together and they're not friends and they don't want to be on the same page together. And so I'm pushing in this crayon and I'm going in all different directions and trying to make it mix with the peach, but it's not doing it. And I'm coloring outside of the lines now, and I've colored into my eye and my lips. Now there's red on my chin, and I'm panting. And Anna, Shai, and Amanda are all staring at me, and I'm embarrassed. And when I'm done, I look down, and I'm this grotesque monster that can't decide if it wants to be peach or brown. And I want to scream at Miss Jill Harrington, "Please do not hang this up. I'll do it again. I'll do it your way this time." But she grabs my self-portrait before I'm able to say anything, and she puts it into the pile with all of my even-toned, beautiful peach friends, and it's hung up on the wall. And I go home that night, and I ask my mom, "Why am I not allowed to be peach?" And she explains it to me as well as a mother can to a 6-year-old who's going through an identity crisis. I'm not peach, and your dad isn't peach, and so she does her best, but I still don't understand it, and I don't want to ask her because I don't want to sound stupid because everyone else seems to understand this concept of color, but I cannot wrap my head around it. And so I put this idea on a shelf, and I don't think about it again until the 6th grade, when I'm in a new school and we're all asking each other questions like, "Where did you go to elementary school?" and "What's your favorite book?" and just trying to get to know each other a little bit. And this one boy comes up to me and he asks me, "What race are you?" Which might be a complex question. Some people, they can't look at me and know what race I am. And I didn't know what race I was because I never really thought about it. And so I'm trying to look for an answer. And I think back to Miss Jill Harrington and that brown nubby crayon. And I tell him I'm brown. And he looks at me and he's so confused and he says, "What do you mean you're brown? Brown isn't a race." And I find the words finally, and they come up, and this little 6-year-old me inside is screaming, and then now I'm screaming, and I'm saying, "Who are you to tell me what I am? If I say I'm brown, then I'm brown, and deal with it." So this boy never spoke to me again, which is fine because I finally found the words and was able to stand up for myself.
So once again, in that reading comprehension, she was just starting to learn about their identity crisis and what happened to her. Yes, Ali, it is a real story. Okay.
Okay.
All right. For the question about this reading comprehension, we had why was Elisa excited about the self-portrait? Because she has been taught how to color inside lines, as her mother had already brought her some color book that she has already practiced on in some. Why did she think peach was a good color to use? Because all of the other girls were using the same color. Consequently, she thought the same thing. That's my color, like other girls. I'm no different than all of them. What did Miss Harrington do that upset Lisa? She grabbed her portrait and grabbed a brown crayon, very nasty one, and started to tell her to color with this color as it's her own color. How does Elisa finally take a stand? In the 6th grade, of course, when a kid tried to ask her about her weight, she took a stand and told him that she is brown and she had just to deal with it. Any question about that reading comprehension?
No, teacher.
All right, going to the most and the biggest one. Flowers for Algernon.
Teacher, in the last quiz, you got dates in flowers for Algernon. Are you gonna put it in the exam, like dates? May and Heather, June.
I did not include dates.
Okay, like May and June, not like actual dates, like months.
It's about what happened between those 2 months.
Wait, so you're gonna include what happens between 2 months?
Yes, why not?
Can you like explain them? Because I forgot the dates and like the
Not
months.
to explain them, just it started in February and ended in December. So, what happened at May and June in the middle of the experiment? What happened?
He started going down.
Who started
Charlie.
to go down first? Who started to go down first?
Algernon.
Algernon first, and then Charlie identified that he's gonna deteriorate too. His brain is gonna deteriorate. I think it is not on the comprehension of the story. Yes, Ali. So once again, flowers for Algernon. What does it speak about?
A mouse and a guy who are both stupid. They got a test to become not like a surgeon or like a thingy that makes them smart, like triple their IQ, big brain. So they do it, and then what they don't know this is it has like an effect where they die. No, like not that their IQ goes back, and they could die. Like Algernon, rest in peace, Algernon.
Yes. Okay, so flower for Algernon. It's a very, very non-fiction one, of course. It's a non-fiction narrative also. In this reading comprehension, we just speak about an experiment. So everyone wanna become smart, but this is not the whole idea behind that reading comprehension. It's not just about getting smart. It's about why would you like to get smart. Can you remember why did Charlie wanna get smarter?
Cause he's dumb.
No.
Because he wanted to feel the emotions.
To feel he did not realize that
To
he
impress
lacked.
his friends that at the work.
Yes, his friends. What about his friends?
To impress him.
To impress them. Okay, that could be a point. But the whole idea that to feel like other people, to become smart like they are, okay, because he loved his friends from work. He often went out to them with them, and they perhaps go to a diner or a bar or somewhere, and he felt that he's not equal to them, and all he needed to do is just to be equal to them, so that they can love him more. He knew that all of his friends love him, yet he needed them to love him more. What he didn't know is that they were just laughing at him at the time when he was done. So he applied to another school with a teacher called Miss Kenyon, and Miss Kenyon introduced him to both Dr. Nemur and also Dr. Strauss. Both of Dr. Nemur and Dr. Strauss were having an experiment about how to triple the IQ, and while doing so, Charlie went through several of steps or several of tests before he even got the approbation, which will alter his IQ. While doing these steps, he was asked to compete or to race with that lab mouse, Algernon. Of course, Algernon had the same operation. His IQ was tripled. He solves mazes each day so that he can get his breakfast or his food. And while doing so, Charlie started to write the progress reports. Of course, while writing these progress reports, they told us about what person Charlie really is, because it told us about number one, how his languages, his grammar, his writing, all of this, and of course, the reading comprehension was written by Daniel Keats. Important.
Sure, this is non-fiction narrative.
Yeah, it's non-fiction also. Because it didn't happen.
Wait, so all of them are non-fiction narratives?
No, the mode is a realistic one.
So non-fiction narrative, real story, the non-fiction narrative.
Non-fiction. No, fiction is we have the non-fiction. The first one, Flowers for Algernon, and also the Mode is non-fiction, realistic also, but Flowers for Algernon is fiction.
So Rapid Proof Friends, what's that?
So it's fiction narrative.
Fiction narrative, yes, because it didn't happen. No one had that operation. or to be more truthful to you, no one known has taken that,
Successfully had that operation.
but some secret tests also trying to triple the IQ. But secretly, they are not yet known to the people. So once again, this reading comprehension, supposedly it did not happen, so it's fiction. Okay. Daniel Keyes tries to introduce to us a way that man can come to a problem, an identity crisis, and needs to do anything in order to change that crisis. For us here, we have this person, Charlie Gordon. He is not like super smart, and of course he has some problem while writing or speaking. He even does not understand the humor when he counters it. And during the reading comprehension, or along with the reading comprehension, Charlie comes to face some problems. These problems will try to make him understand more about his surrounding, and later he will also try to become super smart. After having the operation for some months, Dr. Strauss and Dr. Nemur will introduce him to a TV, which will help him to learn while sleeping. And while doing so, of course, Charlie learns and learns very fast. Speaks several languages, starts to understand about psychology, about physics, about mathematics, and other sorts of science. He even surpasses his both doctors.
You want me to like memorize all the dates for everything?
No,
All the times, like
just this, the main idea.
what do you mean?
Only the main idea.
What do you mean main idea?
What happened at the beginning?
Okay, but you're gonna say like what happened in May, like last time, like a quiz. This is true.
What happened?
Again.
If you
No.
already including the comprehension check? Did you read the comprehension check?
Wait,
Like
so it's always gonna be like this?
yes,
Okay.
this
What's
was
the
the one
answer?
in the quiz, right?
Answer.
And we solved that. What happens to Algernon in May and June?
He declines.
Yeah, that's it. He started to deteriorate.
Sure. What happened is not in the story. What's that? He found his life, or did he die?
No, Algernon died at the end of the reading comprehension, and Charlie took him and he buried his body.
Sure, Algernon died, but
Answer
Charlie
the
not.
question.
No, Charlie did not. Charlie fled or left the city. He did not want anyone to come counter him. So the reading comprehension ends where Charlie leaves the city.
What's the question? What's the answer to this question? 5.
What happens to Charlie at the end of the
He flees.
story? First, his brain deteriorates. He lost his intelligence. He become dumb once again, and he left the city, so that no one can come counter him again, because he did not want
So he left the area.
for him. He left it, yes.
Okay.
Just imagine after becoming super intelligent, and everyone will deal with you as an intelligent guy, and just like that, you start to deteriorate and become dumb again. So, and remember, during the operation, he got to know and counter the feelings that he did not even knew of existence. Okay, like humor. So now he understood about humor, love, hatred, pity. All of these feelings, he can counter them once obtaining the high IQ. And once he lost the IQ, the feeling is still stuck with him. He still have a memory of it. So he did not want anyone to feel pity for him. Consequently, he just fled from the city. Of course, Daniel Keyes did not want us to, or he did not end the reading comprehension by saying that Charlie himself died, because it's gonna be very sad ending. So he just fled, and he felt sorry for Algernon and asked everyone to put flowers on Algernon's grave. That's why we name the reading comprehension Flowers for Algernon. Got the idea?
Can you go to the grammar?
We will move into grammar in about now. Grammar starts from 45. Okay. Recognizing compound verbs. What is the meaning of a compound verb?
More than one verb. Pretty simple.
And who's performing these verbs?
The one subject.
Focus. So when we have one subject performing more than one action verb, consequently we have
Teacher,
yes, so JB.
yes, page 168. Yes, which one is the definition? You need to say it because there is like said there's a said like for example contract is the prefix con means with together, and then under it there is a definition to catch as a disease. Yes, teacher. This we need to memorize what the definition, right?
Yes, the definition.
Not memorize like the prefix like that means down here the suffix. Okay.
And on 68, Muhammad, you were speaking about the word truths, right? So, for example, what is the meaning of a contract? It means to catch or a legal agreement. The definition of dejected means downcast, depressed, or even disappointed.
Teacher, I think I do not need it because it's in Classera.
Yeah, it's already on Classera. I have uploaded it to Classera. Okay.
Can we go to what's it called? Go to grammar.
Yeah, we will start by grammar now. So in the grammar, we were speaking about first the compound verbs.
Teacher, I have a question. Yeah. What you called? I do not understand like direct objects. I mean, like indirect objects are easier, but direct objects sometimes I got wrong. I get like the answers wrong in it. Like when you go to there, can you like explain it from the beginning?
Yes, no problem.
Okay.
All right, in page number 45, we were speaking about the compound verbs. Can someone please give me a sentence containing a compound verb?
I hit and I hit and ran on Ali and ran on Ali.
Why are you always so frustrated?
I was like, what do we do after hit? Like, do I bat him?
He's kidding, Ali. He's kidding. Do not take it personal. You know. And come on, guys, laugh. So I hit and ran on Ali. So yeah, that's great. So we have here one verb, and here we have another verb, and both of them are being performed by the same subject. Consequently, we call them compound verb. And of course, this sentence is a simple one. So you may have a compound verb in simple sentence. You may have a compound verb in compound complex or even compound complex. sentence. So the type of the sentence does not matter, as you may have the compound verb in any type of sentences. Okay, Ali, give me a sentence. And the limits is your imagination. Give me a sentence containing a compound verb, please.
Give a sentence, teacher.
Okay, Muhammad.
I have cooked and cleaned. I have cooked for my children and cleaned the living room.
That's very kind of you actually to do that. So we have here, I have cooked and also cleaned. By the way, guys, this is something you're gonna study later. We can here add have.
Okay.
Okay, so here I have the auxiliary verb have. Okay, and after it we bring the verb in the past participle as Muhammad said. Very nice example, Muhammad. And also we have cleaned here is in the past participle form. So I have the ability to add have or not. So after all we have cooked and cleaned or have cleaned. Consequently, that's the compound verb. Ali Hussein, I killed and ran on MK. That's very, very okay. So you killed him and you ran on him. Wow, that's a lot. Are you so devastated? So once again, compound verbs. Compound verbs mean that when you have one subject performing more than one action verb. And also the same thing. You may concentrate here now. So that's the compound verb, like weeded and planted, gathered and went, and all of this. I cleaned and prepared Ali's grave. Well, that's very nice of you actually to do that, even if it was just a grave. But cleaning the grave, wow. I don't think you have the courage to do that. But actually, it's very kind of you. So, very. Oh, that's nasty. Really, that's nasty. Stop. So, in page number 46, a very, 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 very easy lesson. Yet, some of you made it wrong in the quiz. I remember Nawaf and Khalid al Khalifa, both of them had it wrong in the exam. Okay,
No,
the
teacher,
subject of
they make
the
it easy, and then you try to make it hard. So then we expect
hard,
it's
it's hard,
easy, and then it's
like,
hard. No, it's you could try to confuse us. You try to like trick
don't
questions.
make me come
That's
in
exactly
there.
what you do. That's exactly what you do.
Don't make me come in there. What are the subject in the sentence?
Each sentence is like 16 on screen right now.
So any sentence that can express a command or a request, the subject is a hidden you. You, but it's a hidden. Taken because I'm directing the speech to you. Consequently, we do not add you. Like close the window. Who closes the window? You close the window. Consequently, any command, any request, the subject is a hidden you. So stop telling here what to do. Who's the subject? You. You stop telling here. Keep off the grass. Give your brother give me a break. Please turn on the TV. Sit by me. Please recycle. Give grossly. Go. Andrew, please sit down. This is the most tricky one. Andra, please sit down. Here you have a comma, so Andra is not the subject. Andra is the called person. Muhammad, open the window. So you open the window. any command, any request, the subject is you. That's it. Okay, the most tricky one is the one containing a cold name. Roses are red, violets are blue, your grape is nasty, and you are 2. I believe I'm gonna tell the administration about this, Muhammad, because that's child abuse and you are becoming so any questions so far about this lesson? Subject of a command or a verb? Compound verbs and the subject
This is
of
easy.
this is easy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Look out please and join into the second session.
What is easy, teacher? A compound verb?
Yeah, command. When you have a sentence, command or request, the subject is you, but it's hidden, taken out of the sentence.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm directing the speech. So now I have to end the session and enter the second one. Okay, so enter from the second one. Bye.